Hey y'all, this is your K-pop auntie Carly, and I am doing a little something different today. I've been meaning for some time now to begin making analysis videos on the Skiz universe from an older stays and a book editor's perspective. So, starting from the beginning, I'm starting with Hellevator. And I'm going to be, I'm a little bit of a trained devil's advocate. So I'm going to be presenting multiple possibilities, not just one theory that I think is happening. And you can all kind of think along things with your own particular perspective. All right, I'm just going to be using like my normal format here. I made the box a little bit bigger, this box right here. My head is in a smaller space, so we'll see if I can dodge in and out just fine. Um, the Hellevator MV in particular, there's rarely snippets of videos that are like more than a few seconds long. It's like a really chopped up video as far as the shots go. So I'm mostly just going to be using still frames. Um, and this is going to be my format. Okay. First things first, Skiz has already expressed that we're dealing with parallel universes, so we need to take a look at what that means, because there are two different ways to approach it. We have the parallel universe, the scientific theory versus science fiction. The multiverse is a legit scientific theory. Science fiction has a whole slew of subgenres that are like some variation on alternate or parallel universes. The multiverse. The quickest way that I can try to explain what the multiverse is, and I'm totally going to make this excessively simple, so don't slaughter me in the comments. Basically, the concept is that if the universe is indeed infinite, then there are infinite possibilities out there. Like, we're on the search right now for another planet that might have the possibility for life. And in the multiverse, the theory is, well, since the universe is infinite, if you search for long enough, if you keep going out and out and out, you're eventually going to find a planet that has life on it. And if you keep going further and further, you're going to eventually find something that has not just like little microorganisms, but has actual stuff that actually walks around and kind of looks like a mammal or a reptile or a fish. And if you keep going further and further, you're going to eventually find something that looks like a human. And if you keep going further and further and further, you are going to find something that is almost identical to a human. And if you keep going further and further, you're eventually going to find civilizations, and you're going to find all sorts of things. And the further you go, the more universes you discover, you're eventually going to find humans that seem to be kind of like us here on Earth. And if you keep going further and further, you're not just going to find civilizations that kind of went along the whole Bronze Age and everything and have gone so far towards looking like us, like the same genes, the same everything, that you would basically have doppelgangers out there that look so much like you that it's almost like just making it would look like, not actual, but it would look like there are versions of you that just simply made different decisions. And you could see what your life looked like because there's so many possibilities of worlds. Extremely simple explanation of that. However, did I go the wrong way? I went the wrong way. We also have science fiction, which is, I think, what we're dealing with here. I don't think we're dealing with a literal scientific theory. We do have science fiction, and that is, like, you have alternate histories, like, kind of like the District 9 world in Hunger Games is like that, where Hunger Games is actually based in the United States of America, and the really short explanation you get is like something happened and the US government fell and you had these districts rise up, and so you have this alternate future that played out. And that's kind of what District 9 is, because it's a science fiction type world that is like exploring a different possibility of what the world could look like if things happened a different way. Or you have like, this is, don't know if you can tell there, that's Loki. That is from the Disney series Loki, where you have actual parallel universes with the concept that making a different choice split off the world, so that there's a world where there's actually a version of Loki that is that alligator. Because all of these different decisions just kind of split off and made different worlds. And so there is a you that made a choice to have a different breakfast this morning, and that created a different world in this kind of science fiction concept. It's something as simple as a different breakfast, or something as simple as marrying your high school sweetheart and what that would have looked like. So a lot of different, I think that is kind of what we're dealing with here. Oh, let's see. What are we doing? So yeah, I think my own personal thought on this is that when it comes down to parallel universes and science fiction, like from a book editor's point of view, you don't, like, there might be like standout fiction that kind of deals with it, but the idea of parallel universes in science fiction is never really about uniting the worlds. Those worlds, once created, exist in and of themselves. Like, they don't have to be reunited. They exist. They are legitimate life that exists. You don't have to, like, destroy or unite. And that's why I have the back door up here, where you have all of these different doors, which I assume symbolizes all of the different worlds that Skiz can travel to. And they're not like trying to make all of those doors into one. They're legitimate worlds, which leads you to think, I believe that we're following one Skiz from kind of like our world, and they're coming across all these different iterations of themselves. There's a bunch of different Skiz behind all of those doors. And what do those stray kids look like? What decisions do those stray kids make? You know, are they plumbers? Are they singers? Are they, who are they? What did they do? So there's infinite possibilities. I think that's what we're dealing with, a bunch of different Skiz and a bunch of different choices that they could have made. Skiz once said, let's see what Chan has to say.
Perhaps it was us all along that could have turned the moons into one.
Now that, I know my volume is way down. I'm not going to dick around with my volume settings. I've screwed things up too much. He said, perhaps it was us all along that could have turned the moons into one. Let's get back there. Hey, get back. All right. I don't think it actually even played.
Perhaps it was
there
us
we
all
go.
along that could have turned the moons.
That is
one.
from the Go Live prequel trailer, that he's saying it was us all along that could have turned the moons into one. And the moons, there's a lot to unpack about what the moons could symbolize. I mean, you have in the same video, you have them saying about double knot, and I keep looking over here at my notes. Different moons came up with different choices. And you also have them saying about Hellevator, the moment we let you go, the two moons overlapped, becoming one streak of light. So, it's one of the things, again, as a book editor, you come across symbols, all sorts of symbols. And I mean, the symbols, they could symbolize those different planets, literal stars up in the sky, different planets where different versions of Skiz, different versions of stray kids on them that are coming up with different choices. Moons could also symbolize guiding light. You look up in the sky, and especially for our nautical terms, for sailors, you have this guiding light leading them to make the choices that they're making. The moons could also symbolize like a force that governs or like contributes to controlling them, kind of like the moon affects the tide. And I mean, after all, I don't think it's a coincidence that Stray Kids have portrayed wolves so much in their discography and their MVs numerous times. Wolves are, creatures of the night paired with the moon all the time, and there's, the concept of the werewolf and, being forced to change when the moon comes out. All sorts of stuff to unpack. Okay, overanalysis disclaimer. It was Tolkien, who, Tolkien is the author of The Lord of the Rings. And when he was still living, there was a lot of discussion over how his book was basically a portrayal of World War I and World War II. He was a World War I veteran. His children fought in World War II. and they're saying, man, it's this huge critique, and talking all about World War I and everything that happened then. There's all these everything written about it, and somebody finally thought to ask him, and he said, no, actually, I didn't mean to write about World War I or II at all. I was just writing a story. So over-analysis, disclaimer, stuff like this is ripe for just digging too much into it when it really just looks cool. All right, so again, book editor, settings. We have 2 settings in Hellevator. Here we have contemporary. So this only dark skiz. I'm going to call these guys dark skiz because they're all dressed in black. They only appear in the contemporary setting. It appears to be a contemporary. It could also be like a post-apocalyptic, but I think it's contemporary being like modern day. My working theory is dark-colored skiz is like a version of them who's growing up, or at least facing the reality of growing up and like merging into the system, taking part in society and societal expectations. That's kind of my working theory on that. And part of that has to do with some of their other MVs. I mean, I'm not going to do a video on Spread My Wings, but again, Spread My Wings is our Young Wings as well, is a story about book editor, hello. They tell a story in it. The lyrics are about, growing up and the struggle about growing up, and they're dressed in all black there, as are the skiz in 19, which I'm not going to do a video for either, because, you can analyze what's on the table there and everything, the fact that there's a door there, you can get into stuff, and a shopping cart. I mean, come on, but I'm not going to do that. And yeah, they all look unhappy with getting older too. Then we have colorful skiz. Colorful skiz only appears in this kind of the Hellevator setting, with the kind of trashed out building with the couch, and again you have the shopping cart here, and you have lamps, and you have all that ladder, and you have all sorts of things that continue to repeat. My working theory, again, is that these multi-colored kids is the version of them who's like avoiding growing up, or at least avoiding facing the reality of growing up, taking part in societal expectations. That's kind of, we'll see if it pans out. 3 outfits. And again, over analysis, I don't know. So we're going to go back to dark skiz. Dark skiz only ever appears in the contemporary setting, getting into the elevator, and Dark Han only appears in the field at the end. Colorful skiz, they appear in choreo, and the only ones in the Hellevator setting here, except for Han, who goes to the field. Right? Yes. Setting yellow except for Han. No, other way around. Dark Han is up in the field, and all of these other skiz go into the field with him. All right, and then we have multicolored, I'm not there yet. The choreo, by the way, has the red spotlight going through it. And the colorful skiz there only ever have that red spotlight going through on them, because our other guys, these guys, the multicolored skiz, and their choreo is only ever in the light. Chan and Hyunjin there are in all white. I have no idea if that intentionally is pointing towards like District 9, or if it's like an in-between skiz or what. But they're only ever in the light, as opposed to the colorful skiz, who are only ever in this setting with the red light going back and forth. All right. What is next? The actual MV. Man, I'm going to pause for a second here to gather myself and say hi to my dogs. All right, actual MV. So we have, in the introduction, which shows kind of the world as it is. The dark skiz is in an abandoned classroom. They're kind of like leaving their school days behind. We have dark skiz on an abandoned basketball court, and multicolored skiz are in the rotunda here that they're relegated to. They never leave this location. Then we have a forlorn Han, and he's introducing colorful skiz in the Hellevator world. Then we have all this interesting stuff going on in there besides the props that repeat. We have This kind of contributes to my working theory that it's the early version of Skiz, that they're kind of growing up, because what we have here, we have the graffiti where we have 3 Racha, and a song on their original mixtape, Gur. Now remember, Hellevator, like this whole thing is pre-debut, pre-mixtape, so this is all in the planning. They're hoping to debut. This is survival show era. And that, just as a side note, we have the MV there, and we have that is Start Line by 3 Racha. That's the last song that they uploaded on 3 Racha's content, and that's the cover for it. Alright. Now, again, I won't be doing a video for Gur, so quick mention here is that Skiz and the Gur video are all multicolored ones. Overanalyzing? Probably, but, you know, it's about not wanting to grow up. Pretty much is what Gur is about. Alright. Back to poor Han. So, we see items from this setting that we'll see in the future MVs, like the shopping cart, we have the couch, and we also have Hell written on a wall right next to a door, and we have an exit sign, meaning, who knows? You know, is that where the colorful Skiz goes to, you know, I guess, join Dark Han, going up in the Hellevator? We'll see. In the meantime, Dark Skiz seems to have, like, symbols of their childhood. We have Chan with a basketball, and we have Woojin with a bike. Now, there's also a bike with a colorful Skiz, but unlike the colorful Skiz, where they're all riding around having a good time, I don't know if they're symbolizing, like, growing out of childhood things or just kind of nostalgia, but, like, Dark Skiz isn't appearing to have fun with their items. They're just kind of wandering around with these looks on their face. Not happy. Alright, then we have colorful Skiz coming to Han to rescue him from his sadness. And yeah, that is literally how short these scenes are. Okay, but we have Dark Han, who has already entered the building. And Dark Han finds the Hellevator and is on his journey up. Meanwhile, the world is burning. we suddenly get these snippets of just like basketballs and books and car seats on fire. And, you know, the timeline on the MV is kind of skipping back and forth a little when it comes to Dark Han here, because we get a glimpse of seeing him with the rest of Dark Skiz, like right before he goes into the elevator. And he seems unhappy here. That does not look like a happy Han. And I don't think that it's a coincidence, actually, that he's sharing a little moment with Woojin here. Like, during the filming of the MV, Woojin is actually the only one in real life who is no longer a teenager. He is the only one of all of Stray Kids when this was filmed that was 20 years old. And, you know, it's him that an unhappy Han breaks away from. What else? It's then that unhappy Han wanders away from the group and enters, I'm assuming this is when he wanders away from the group and he finds the elevator. It's right after this that we get the Molotov cocktail scene. Now, that's where the bottle, like, shatters into flowers, and I've watched some other videos, and yeah, I've heard theories about what the flowers are all about, and I kind of have my own theory on it. It's a lot more simple, I guess. I don't know. I don't know that it plays into their entire world, but, like, we have the symbols that the world is already burning in this MV, and we don't actually, like, see who's setting the stuff on fire. The only glimpse that we get of the guys kind of being destructive is Han throwing that Molotov cocktail right there, but it's ineffectual. Like, he's trying, it does nothing but it burst into the least harmful thing possible, just a bunch of flowers, and I don't know if this is supposed to be symbolic of that colorful, playful version of Skiz or of Han, like, trying to be revolutionary, trying to set the world on fire, trying to shake things up and change things, and kind of being, you know, trying to really get into, like we'll see later with Miro, trying to change things, but nothing happens. It's of no effect. It just erupts into a bunch of flowers. That's my theory. Who knows? Okay, it's after this that we see 2 different worlds emerging and the path that the different Skiz take. So we have Dark Han. He emerges from the elevator onto an open field. And the side note here, so far as I know, we never see this elevator again, which is not true of other, well, there are other elevators that we never see again, other doors that we never see again, but there are some doors and elevators that we do see more than once, so I have no idea if it matters. Okay, then we get Felix. This is the first time that we see Dark Felix kind of being that compass. He's the one who finds the elevator, the same elevator that his buddy Han took. And, you know, in future MVs, Felix will have compasses and other kinds of tools that seem to be, like, helping to guide him. But it's a theme that he seems to be the one who knows where to go. So I don't think it's any coincidence that he's the one who finds the elevator here. And then the other Dark Skids join him. And there's only 8 members in here because, you know, Han has already gone up. And then we have Dark Han taking off running through his new world. It looks pretty, doesn't it? It looks pretty. And we see that the colorful skin, minus colorful Han, have joined him. Colorful Han is still, and I don't know if it's that time skipping thing where we had Han kind of skipping forward to seeing him going up the elevator and then kind of rewound it to see him with Wujin and then leaving. Like, I don't know if a little bit of that beginning scene of Han kind of just sitting sad on the couch was also him after these guys left. I don't know. Is Han alone? Okay, so in the end, we have Colorful Chan putting his arm around Dark Han. And they're looking at an upside-down world, which appears to symbolize the splitting off of parallel universes. I don't know. Maybe it's saying that, hey, we have created 2 different worlds. Maybe it's just their proof of concept type thing that they're going to be playing with parallel universes in their discography. And in the end, it seems to be implied that colorful Skiz and Dark Han are the version of Skiz that do not go into the city. They're in the field, looking at the city, and while Dark Skiz are on the elevator. Both elevators and simple doors seem to function as a means of travel between universes for Skiz, and these guys did not take the door or the elevator. Well, they took one, but they went to the field, while Dark Skiz themselves are on the elevator, but we never see them exit anywhere, and we never see colorful Han again. We don't know what happened to him. And the Cityscape theme, it appears in a bunch of different cityscapes all throughout their discography and their MVs. There's cityscapes everywhere, and this one, it appears to be on fire. Like the whole thing with, you know, the car seats and the basketballs and the books on fire. That they transposed some fire onto that building there. I don't think the building was actually on fire when they took this shot. All right. Chronologically, by MVs, we see basketballs and stuff like Grow Up, but you know, it can be tough because that's where you get into the over-analysis, because with the Grow Up MV, they could have just found a basketball court that was a good place to do a shoot, but it also could have fed into the symbolism there. It's a general theme of, you know, youth, so over-analyzing the kind of stuff when they're talking so much about youth to begin with in their early stuff, it's difficult. Same thing with like the shopping cart, which we see like in as early as My Pace there. We see a lot of different MVs, including the couch from Hellevator is in the IMU, so the IMU trailer. Let's see, and we have the map for a broken compass here, the illustration that Stray Kids came out with, and it does seem to assign some sort of importance, at least to the visual of the couch and the shopping cart. So we'll see what they come up with later. I'll keep making these videos and see what kind of linkage we can find out. Then we have this landscape, we have this field 2 years later in the trailer for Levanter. Oops. So that leaves us with all sorts of questions. All sorts of questions. I'd love for you to leave some comments and join in the discussion. Like, you know, just what do you guys think of, you know, settings, outfit changes? Do you think either of them matter even a little bit? Or do they just need to have different colors, different settings? You need an aesthetic to a music video. Like, not everything in a music video is symbolic. What about the moons that Chan mentions? You know, what do you think the moons mean? Oh, color red. You think it signifies? What do you think the color red signifies? I know that keeps being represented, including in like the Ordinary trailer. there's shots of red and everything, and dude, I don't know. Are the people in the Ordinary trailer, are they from previous MVs, or are they a whole new world? Is Felix being the compass? He has his object, and has he found the way to? Has he found more skids? Has he found the version of skids in yet another universe, or are we dealing with the same skids? Okay, I think, yeah, that's about it. Why do you think Han threw the Molotov cocktail? Why do you think it burst into flowers? What do you think happened to Colorful Han and Dark Skiz? There's all sorts of interesting questions that it poses. I think a lot more questions than anything. Like I said, I'm just devil's advocate here. I'm just throwing out the things that I have seen, as well as kind of give my input a little bit on what I personally have theories for. But I think a lot's up in the air. you know? All right. Well, that's going to be it for this one. I'll do an I Am Not as well, because the I Am Not trailer has all sorts of goodies in it, and then we get into District 9. But I'm going to do an I Am Not trailer one, because I have theories on that. All right. Leave me some likes and comments if you want me to do more of these. It's probably going to be a while, because it takes me a while to come up with these, even with excessively minimal editing like this. I still need to watch so much stuff, do so many freeze frames, and it's intense. But that's what I have for today. This one's gonna be fun. So let me know what you'd like in future goodies. Drop me some links to stuff that I should be looking at. And besides that, you know what? This has been wonderful, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. I will see you later.